Yeah.
Good morning, Dubai. This is the Lovin Dubai show with me, Casey.
And Farah.
And we go through the top trending stories. Our top story for you today, believe it or not, Dubai is set to launch Elon Musk's underground transit loop by 2026.
And Dubai's busiest mall is about to get even bigger.
We're talking about a Dubai content creator calls out brands for paying too little.
And Financial Times says, don't move to Dubai, but here's why that argument is flawed.
And later on in the show, we're so excited to welcome Joe Malone, CBE, who has built a global brand, faced cancer, and also found a new beginning in Dubai. The interview is going to go live at about 8:55.
In today's rapid weather report, it's mostly sunny with temperatures ranging from 28 to 35 degrees Celsius.
If the roads are feeling quieter, it's probably because the entire UAE is running to Doha for the World Cup qualifier, which is happening tonight at 9 p.m. Flags are waving. People are excited.
Everyone is excited. Everything on Twitter right now is about ticket allocations. Everyone is so excited to go and watch it in person. Obviously, you can watch it from your screen, but it's a whole different ball game when you're watching in person.
It's so true. But whether or not people are able to get tickets, there's some drama on the ticket front. But just to give people a bit of a recap, like we spoke about it yesterday, that this will be the first time in 3 decades the UAE might make it into the FIFA World Cup. But the stakes are high. So if they win or if they draw, they go through. Now, if they lose, they might go through, but they would have to go into a second challenge qualifier. There's like a 5th round, and they'd go for second place, which would be in Group B against either Saudi or Iraq. So it's a bit, that might be right, it gets a bit messy. So we're hoping for a win or a draw.
Max, yeah. That's what we're hoping for. Honestly, it would be so incredible to see the UAE qualify for a World Cup by 3 decades.
Madness. That's so well deserved.
It's been way too long. It's too long. I feel like it would be so incredible, such a big win for the UAE. I think you would see such a side of it that, like, finally we made it. People are so excited. Everyone in the comments is just talking about it. So
I think as football fans, I myself am a fair weather fan, but I've been sleeping until this moment to support the UAE. But basically what's happened on the ticket front is the match is happening in Doha, Qatar, and we're playing against the home side. So as you can imagine already, there's going to be more of a home support there. But the tickets that they've released, they only released 8% of tickets to UAE national team. The rest went to the home side.
Ouch. I can imagine how upsetting it might be. I'm sure Emirati football fans would really like to be there, and the fact that they can't allocate specific tickets and all that stuff, I'm sure it's a little bit disappointing. But it is sort of understandable. Would that be the case if the tables were turned? Probably. I think I can understand why.
I think if you're there and you didn't manage to get a ticket, because I think what happened is people went there for the last match.
Yeah.
They had a great time, and then the tickets were dropped for this match, and they sold out in 5 minutes.
Makes sense as well.
Coldplay Take Two.
Yeah.
And so everyone's there, but they're going to watch it in, I think, like different places around the city. So like Souk Wafik is meant to be like a hotspot. I think we saw videos from it. That's where like the big fan celebrations happened last time. Tonight at 9 p.m. It's after my bedtime is the only issue.
So you're not going to stay tuned. I'm more of I want to see the results more than anything. And I'm definitely rooting for the UAE. So, yeah.
Just thinking, raving the flag for the UAE. I wish we had flags this morning. But let's jump into our top stories of the day. Dubai is set to launch Elon Musk's underground transit loop by 2026, sooner than you thought. Dubai commuters could soon ride in Elon Musk's underground loop, with the first 17-kilometre phase expected to open in Q2 2026, and that's according to the UAE AI Minister Omar Alama. The system, developed by Musk's Boring Company, aims to move 20,000 passengers per hour, making Dubai the first city outside of the US to host this futuristic transport network, and that's according to Bloomberg.
The Dubai Loop reflects the city's push to tackle traffic congestion through bold, tech-driven mobility solutions. It joins air taxis and autonomous transit pilots as part of the UAE's light-touch regulatory approach to new technologies, further strengthening its status as a global testbed for urban innovation.
The loop will eventually expand into multiple networks, though no timeline has been disclosed on those. The UAE is also preparing to receive its first NVIDIA AI chip this year, which is a key step toward the Stargate AI supercomputing project with OpenAI and Oracle, cementing the country's role in future mobility and AI infrastructure. But what does this mean for you, the residents? Will you be soon driving around in this loop? Would you give up your car for an underground driverless commute?
I don't see why not. I'm a big, how do I say it? I love driving, and I don't like being driven, but that's in terms of car. In terms of public transportation, they have a good transportation system here in the UAE, but sometimes it can get a little bit congested, crowded, all that stuff.
Yeah, we've got JITEX going on. That's kind of key, yeah.
So maybe something like the transit loop would be a lifesaver. And I don't see why not. I think everybody should, at least try it once. Even if you like to drive and everything, you should try it once.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see where it's rolled out, because we're light on the details for this story. From the fact that it's Q2 of next year, we don't have the location, but the fact that they said extended networks. And I think what's happening is, as you said, Dubai is congested a little bit. Traffic is poor, but we know the RTA is working night and day on new roads and also future forward solutions. And this is one of them. And I think lots of these mini incremental steps will make big change over the next 5 years. I always talk about the story coming from JLT to Production City.
Yeah.
And it was always, you're going straight, you see your location in the distance, and then you had to take a right, go up to the next edge and come down, but they built a bridge.
Yeah, they made it easier.
And it was like, it's a game changer for anyone on that commute, an absolute game changer. So more of those, please.
Yes, more of those. They're definitely taking a lot of steps to make it easier, even towards Mall of the Emirates. I've been going a lot more recently, I don't know why, but they've created so many bridges going towards Mall of the Emirates and everything, and that made it so much easier. Hissa Street, which has been a sore spot in some people's commutes, thankfully not my daily one, but they're working on expanding it, and it's showing, and it looks like it's going to be really nice. But if this loop will be on people's pathways from home to work and everything, and it can be part of the daily commute, I feel like that would change it for people. I mean, Metro's nice, but this sounds nice. And I think it seems like it would be fast.
Yeah.
Q2 2026.
Q2 2026, it's like tomorrow in Dubai land.
I know, right?
Speaking of change and growth,
Dubai's busiest mall is about to get even bigger. They've just announced plans for the huge expansion center at Dubai Mall. So 10,000 square meters of space, 5 halls, and a room for up to 6,000 people. It'll be connected to all the mall's shops, restaurants, and hotels. So you can literally go from a conference straight to dinner or shopping.
No exact opening date or location has been shared yet, but they'll start taking event bookings from January 15th. Wedding bells, maybe. The news dropped on Dubai Mall's Instagram page, and people are wondering if it's part of the 1.5 billion expansion, bringing 240 new stores.
The center will have a main hall, demo zones, lounges, and presentation stages. Very on brand for Dubai Mall, which pulled in 111 million visitors last year.
Interesting, considering a lot of the bigger events. I think JITEX announced this will be the last year it's going to be where it is, and then it's going to move to Expo.
Makes sense.
And I wonder on what level, but I think this would be a smaller level at 6,000 people. So on a smaller level
Slightly
then...
smaller, yeah.
Slightly smaller. Family wedding.
Maybe. Oh, 6,000 people family wedding. 5 halls. So maybe it'll definitely vary. But it's very interesting to see how Dubai is becoming a global hub for business and lifestyle. And in Dubai Mall, they're combining the two. They're like, you can have this and you can have this, or you can go from your conference, like we said a little bit earlier, you can go from your conference straight to the mall, get some dinner, or do some shopping if you need to. Dubai Mall's just gonna be huge. But I'm wondering where they're gonna put it, because that area seems very
Dense.
pretty much done. Like it's done. Like it's built. I have no idea where they're gonna put it, but just like they added the extension Zabil, they put it across the road with a bridge
Connection.
So maybe something like that.
Yeah, I think I can imagine it would be that.
Because I don't know where else they will put it. The streets are like packed sometimes.
Well, if anyone can do it, the people at Emar can.
That's for sure.
That could be like a positive phrase of the day, Emar can. Speaking of positivity, we want to send a little bit of love to this Dubai content creator who's calling out brands for paying too little. So 150 dirham for 4 hours work. We put this question to you, the audience. Is that fair or ridiculous? Rohit Barhati, we've had him on the show before, friend of the show, also the creator behind Tading channel, you may know, shared a post after being offered an outrageously low amount to create content.
He said he was offered 150 dirhams for a reel and a set of stories, something that can take hours to plan, film, and edit.
But it's not just the time spent creating, and I think that's what's important to people not involved in content creation. They're like, oh, you shoot a picture, you post it. No, a lot more goes into it. It's also the value of the distribution. For example, the channel that this person has built and the connected audience that they have and the kind of reach that they have, that's what the brands are paying the big money for.
So here's the question. Should creators charge for the hours they work, or the influence and reach they bring?
It's an interesting question, because if you decided, you could never do this, but if you decided to really regulate an industry, because what's happening is many influencers have rate cards and they're all over the place in terms of what they're charging.
Of course, yeah.
Because it's a very quiet industry at the moment. But imagine if you said, okay, so anyone under 100K, this is the amount that they'll be charged. Anyone under 20, 50, 60, I think it would probably go up in 10K increments. And that could really make it very fair across the board. But at the same time, life's not fair. And if you've got your own business, you're going to put a higher price tag on it. So
of course, it's your baby, you know, you've worked so hard on it. So of course you want to put the price tag that you feel like your work deserves. And that's completely fair. At the end of the day, every creator puts the price tag they feel like is fair for them. But to answer the question, I think in my opinion, it's not the hours, it's the influence and reach.
It's not the hours.
It's not the hours that you put into the work.
Yeah, of course.
It's because at the end of the day, I mean, let's say filming, editing, and distributing a reel, it'll take however long, let's say 3 hours, we're just spitballing here, 3 hours. But if at the end of the day, once you put it up and it only gets 100 likes versus 100,000, that sounds a lot, 20, let's say 20.
Yeah.
20,000 likes, that will drastically, you know, impact what the client was expecting. So that's why I feel like it should be on influence and reach and not the hours. But in the case of this specific scenario where it's a reel and a set of stories, 150 is crazy.
It's crazy.
That was unfair.
Do you think, like, how could we stop this, right? Because there's people, potentially small business owners, who are, of course, trying to get a deal.
Yeah.
Because they've got their own small business that they're trying to grow. So they might reach out to any creator and say, hey, will you do this thing? Will you do it for free? And then what's happening is the creators are getting so upset because they're like, how dare you ask you for my time for free? My time is not free. I'm building a business. And it's this constant back and forth. I don't think there's a solution to it, really.
It's tricky to navigate for sure, because obviously brands want things done with as minimal cost as possible. And obviously, you as a creator building a brand, you want to earn as much as possible because this is your brand that you're creating. So it's hard. It's hard.
Rohit, I think you're going to have to deal with that for quite some time. It's really frustrating. I think just push back, stand your ground, and if every content creator were to say no to the freebies as a unit, I didn't say union, as a unit, you would stand firm. Let's jump into our next story of the day.
So Financial Times said, don't move to Dubai, but here's why that argument is flawed. So the Financial Times dropped an opinion piece titled, Don't Move to Dubai, London is still the place to be. That's the title. His argument was mostly about how London has history and culture. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but here's the thing. Dubai isn't trying to be London. It's sort of comparing apples to oranges, or maybe the writer doesn't like seeing Brits moving to Dubai, which is a lot of them are.
And so it was amazing to see people hop to the UAE and Dubai's defence. Sultan Al Qasimi, who is founder of Barjeel Art Sharjah, jumped in on X to clap back, saying, London is great for sure, but parts of it don't feel safe, and the no income tax thing is hard to argue with. And the Gulf is also, by the way, a major hub for art and culture. Oh, and moving to Dubai doesn't mean giving up on London. We're saying both are great.
Yeah, and honestly, he made a great point. Dubai today isn't some tax haven escape. It's a full-blown cultural powerhouse. We're talking Michelin star restaurants, world-class art fails, Arsakat Avenue, TODA, the list goes on. And London will always have history and charm, no doubt. But Dubai's got now the ambition, the safety, diversity, and the can-do energy that keeps people coming back.
So true about the can-do energy and the entrepreneurial spirit. So I think in response to this Financial Times article, what people in Dubai are saying is it's not London versus Dubai. It's all about the choice and what matters to you both. And I think I saw that in the comments a lot. People were kind of saying, why do you need to compare the cities? Like, we're not comparing Dubai and Tokyo. We're not comparing London and New York. So why London and Dubai? It was so specific to me. So I was just wondering why this writer, obviously everyone is entitled to their own opinion. You can make your own opinion, obviously. But why are we saying don't move to Dubai because London is still the place to be? It's obvious that he's targeting a specific demographic. He's talking about the Brits. He's like, don't leave London just yet, stay. We have a lot to offer, and then Dubai doesn't give you the culture and the history. I think the art and culture was like a key point.
That was the main idea, yeah.
Maybe it's because I think recently some brands have suggested they're going to open in the UAE, and we've got the Louvre Abu Dhabi. But maybe it might be time for that writer to actually focus in on the culture, because I think what a lot of people miss is the cultural aspect of Dubai. And there's so many glitzy headlines, and we have been a haven for influencers, and that just leads to kind of like the most lavish home, the bougiest place to visit, the beautiful skyline, but actually at the heart of the city is a soul. And there's thriving cultural hotspots like Al Sirkal is such an amazing place to visit, and events throughout the year that show you that Dubai has much more of a soul than simple headlines would lead you to believe. So maybe that could be the journalist's next deep dive.
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes if you're opening TikTok, you're going to see this person with a British accent. They're like, I just moved to Dubai and I'm looking for, I don't need to do the accent. I just moved to Dubai and I'm looking for a place to live, and this is me buying something from Dragon Mart, There's so many. But I feel like what this author was seeing, and some people are seeing, is that they're coming to Dubai for maybe the wrong reasons. They think it's all glitz, glam, brunches, but they're not actually seeing that there's actually so much history, so much culture, and all of that kind of stuff here. They're not necessarily coming to see that, and they also fail to see that. Right.
Well, maybe that would be generalizing, but yeah, I think take a look at the post, and we love to get your comments and feedback on them as always. We're going to jump in to our guest. We are so excited to welcome Jo Malone, CBE, who has built a global brand. She has faced cancer, and she's also found a new beginning in Dubai. Do stay tuned. She'll be with us right after this very short break. Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today we're joined by one of the most iconic names in fragrance, Jo Malone, CBE, from from mixing scents in her kitchen to building a globally recognised brand. Jo's journey is one of creativity, resilience and reinvention. In this conversation, we'll dive into why she sold Jo Malone London, how her cancer diagnosis reshaped her outlook, and what inspired her move to Dubai. We're so excited to welcome her on the show. Welcome to the Lovin Dubai show, Jo Malone.
Thank you guys. Really happy to be here.
You smell fantastic.
Well, I hope so. I hope. Wouldn't that be awful if I came in and smelled terrible?
We just got a whiff of the scent.
It was that was. I always need a bottle near me, and this was the one I created when I came to move to Dubai. So it's about the sun rising every morning and the sun setting, and the adventure of life that we have in between every single day. So I thank God so much that I came here. But she's called Sun-Kissed Orange.
It smells incredible.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
It's absolutely delightful.
It's got a slightly
really stunning.
But it's the skin of an orange.
I'm getting the notes right now. I love it. Okay, let's start from the very beginning, from your early days. It's a very inspiring story that every hustler in Dubai gets inspired by. But what inspired you to start creating fragrances from your kitchen? Did you ever imagine it growing into a global brand?
No, never. I mean, I think I came from very humble background. There wasn't a lot of money in our house. So I was kind of the adult from the age of 11. I had two very creative parents. My mum was in the beauty industry, which is where I learnt about formulations and skincare and fragrance. And my father was a brilliant artist, a magician. He was part of the magic circle. He was also a huge gambler. So these three things, and my childhood was very much, I was always at his side. And I've never gambled in my life. That was one thing I learned. But all the other very creative things about my father, I learned how to sell paintings in a market. I learned the excitement of magic as part of life and entertainment. And all of those things, you know, nothing is wasted in our life, nothing. We always sometimes come full circle. And, you know, people listening, sometimes something happens to you. Don't worry about that, because eventually you'll learn from it or you'll win. Either way.
So interesting, and I'm so glad you mentioned magic, because with your original brand, Joe Malone, there is a sense of magic. So of course it's the beautiful sense, but it's also just that feeling of the gift that everyone wants in their home, maybe on Christmas, or a mother-in-law wants to receive, or, you know, or you receive on your wedding day, for example. It's such a brand that's a scent as well as the magic. And I just wonder, the business and the branding aspects, were they instinctual to you?
Well, as you know, I'm not part of that brand any longer, so I'm actually not really allowed to talk about that brand.
Okay.
I can talk about the past, but I can't be a spokesperson for that. But just looking at my life as a whole, I think making people smile, making people feel that they're happy, making people feel that you're giving them something that you have created from either storytelling or an experience or something. It makes people smile, and I love that. I love being in the shop, and someone will say to me, "Joe, can you sign my box or my bag?" And it just makes me so happy to think my life. As a little girl, I was told I was lazy and stupid because I was dyslexic, severely, still am. And I think, look what I've done. Look what I've done with my life.
That's incredible. So, the moment you decided to sell Joe Malone London, and obviously you can share as much or as little as you want, but that must have been an emotional and pivotal moment in your life. What led to that decision to sell the brand, and how did it feel letting go of it?
Well, it was 5 years almost to the day that we opened that shop door, and we sold. And we had, on the first day of opening, I had somebody offer me $1 million to sell my brand that day. We hadn't even been open 24 hours. So I knew that... I know. And it was either a journalist for a story, it was either somebody seeing, where I stood, or it was the real thing. But I never saw that man again. He never came back. And I said, thank you very much, but no thank you. And in that 5 years, I learned what retail really was about and what it was to be a shopkeeper. Because I always say I'm a shopkeeper. That's what I do. But when you have success, there's a part in your business where you're pouring money into it. And then when you start to take a brand globally, you then have to set up in each territory. You need support, you need staff, you need PR, you need marketing. And so that pool of money that you put aside gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And so then what happens is your growth starts to backfire because you can't roll it out in the way that you want to. And so I think we'd reached that point, and Gary's my business partner and my husband. And we were just two young kids, and it was like, what are we going to do? Do we slow the growth down? But we'd put so much energy into getting it sort of rolling. So when we sold, and I can remember it was October, we flew out to New York City to sign the deal. The airline had lost all my luggage, and so I was standing in a tracksuit, ready to sign the biggest deal of my life. And thank goodness the Gap came to the rescue. And we signed the deal, and I thought I was going to stay forever. And again, what another big lesson in life and business. The landscape can change. I mean, look at the world we're living in right now. The landscape can change in a second. And so think ahead. Think, your biggest dreams, think ahead and ask yourself, what if I could? And what if this happens? Those are the big questions when you're bringing in a partner for a business, or you're selling an acquisition. Think of those questions. And mine was, I have stayed forever. And of course, I haven't, and I didn't. And if only I had thought about some of those questions, I might have signed a very different deal than I did. But I don't regret it. I don't regret it for a second.
Wow, it's so interesting. And it's so interesting how you said that life can happen in a second, and there's no regrets because you've gone on to build some incredible brands, which we'll get to. But also, in the midst of it all, you faced a cancer diagnosis.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just wonder, did that shape your perspective at any point, and how you looked at your business and your life?
Absolutely, it did. So I was 38 years old. I had just had my son, who's now 24, but he was a little tiny. He looked like little Harry Potter. He had little glasses on. He was the cutest little thing in the world. And I was filming in New York, and I just felt so tired the whole time, like really bone tired. Do you know what I mean when you say that? And I found a lump in my breast in the shower that morning. And I went home, went to the doctor, and I was rushed into hospital for a scan. And I could see that night when they were looking at the scan, I saw the nurse go out and she said, "I'll be back in 2 minutes." And I knew, absolutely knew. And within 7 days, I was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of breast cancer and told to actually get my life in order. So I didn't have long to live. And I remember going home and thinking, my life changed within hours, and there I was with everything in the palm of my hand, and then suddenly just cancer diagnosis just whipped it all away from me. Anyway, what I decided to do was not listening to the doctors. I'd never listened to anyone in my life tell me how I was going to live my life, and I wasn't going to let someone tell me when I was going to die. And if I had 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, I was going to make the most of it. I went to New York City and I had the most incredible doctor. Thank you, Dr. Larry Norton. I thank him all the time because without him, I wouldn't be sitting here with you at all. And I walked in and he said to me, there are 2 women that walk into this room. One says, "Don't hurt me," and one says, "I want to live no matter what. Which one are you?" Well, I was the latter. And I started, I had my surgeries and it got worse and worse. And then I did my chemo. And then we got to the end of the chemotherapy and I had to do it all over again because they found something in the other breast. So I had to do everything all over again. And at the end, my body was to the wire, without a doubt. And then he walked in one day and he said, "It's gone today. You must go back and you must live your life now." And it was like, what life? And what I told no one is in the second bout of chemo, it had taken my smell, and I was too embarrassed and ashamed to tell. I didn't tell Larry, didn't tell Gary, certainly didn't tell the Estee Lauder Corporation. And that was one of the big reasons I left, because I thought I can't live my life pretending I can smell if I can't. And so I left, walked down the road, and then the irony, it came back a month later after I had signed all the deal. I'd walked away, had a 5-year lockout, non-compete, and I woke up one morning and my sense of smell came back like in a second. And I could smell like 2 floors down in our house. I knew that someone had opened the fridge door. I could smell a wet wall, which about 6 weeks later we had a flood come flying through the wall. I could smell everything, and at that point, that's when I really went through anxiety, because the one thing I could do brilliantly, and I'd taken myself out of the game, and what was I going to do? And for that 5-year lockout, that was pretty uncomfortable. But I just had to tell you something so nice. With my cancer diagnosis, Larry came to Dubai a few months ago, and we had dinner together. And he sat there, and he's the most incredible. If anyone was going to play him, it would be someone like Stanley Tucci. He looks like Stanley Tucci. And he sat there and he said, "I have to tell you something now." And I said, "Yes, Larry," thinking, "Oh, what's he going to tell me?" And he said, "When you walked into my treatment room all those years ago, I knew you wouldn't survive. You had such an aggressive form of cancer." But he had been working on a protocol, a very different protocol, dose density chemotherapy, so lots of chemo but in smaller doses and with very extreme drugs. I was allowed to choose 30 women, he said, and I chose you to be one of the first. None of you would have survived. Today, every single one of those women are alive. Isn't that incredible?
Wow.
And so if you're going through breast cancer treatment or you've just been diagnosed, there's many, many of us who have gone before you. and the hope that you'll recover and go on and claim your lives is due to wonderful people who put time into research. So yeah, I'm incredible. I just very positive end of a story.
Wow, what an inspiring story of survival, really. I have to ask, how did you cope for those 5 years? Because you're a creative person, you're running a massive business, and then that no compete must have just... So where did you take yourself? Did you travel? Did you relax?
I didn't relax at all. I'm a grafter. I love to be busy. I love travelling. I sat on a beach for about 6 weeks and then got very bored, and I just thought, I can't do this. So I made a television show called High Street Dreams, which was helping entrepreneurs build their businesses. But I loved it, but it wasn't the thing that really made Joe. I helped with charities. I helped with all kinds of breast cancer, all kinds of different things. But all I could think about was creating a bottle of that every single day. And I would have these thoughts in my mind. I couldn't even walk through a department store where there was cosmetics because I would cry. Because all I wanted to do was touch the face cream and smell it and go, I would add jojoba and avocado. I mean, my mind just thought like that. And that's when anxiety took over, without a doubt, because I couldn't control. I felt like I'd lost all sense of control of my life. But I'd signed a deal and I'd taken the money and I'd sold my business. So a 5-year lockout was completely, it's what you expect. You can't have it both ways. Mm-hmm. So a 5-year lockout is one thing. A lifetime is completely another.
Mm-hmm. And what made you decide to move to Dubai? I feel like, was that an unexpected choice that you had to make?
I needed to change something in my life. I really did. I got this. I've been here 4 years now. Never going back to the UK. This is my home, and I mean, you must feel the same. I love being here. I love everything that it offers, and but I was suffering from anxiety. I think the thing to do with my name is really hard every day, because if you call my name, I'm going to turn. That's the name I was born with, and it's the name I've lived for 60 years of my life with. So it's very difficult. And yet I had this responsibility. And that sometimes creates huge anxiety for me, because I'm often questioning. I mean, even before this interview, we have to go through this ridiculous cat and mouse conversation. But if you sell your name, I'm afraid this is, until the law changes, this is what we have to live with. But why did I come to Dubai? I was sitting by the pool one day. I'd come just for a rest. And I looked up and I thought, Joe, you've got to change something. You can't just keep doing the same thing. You've got to change something. You've got to switch it up. And I always have had this dream that you know me for the sense of smell. But there's another 4 senses. Could I actually build other businesses? Because I'm really good at building businesses and creating, and building businesses creates jobs, and that's what creates revenue, that's what creates wealth. It isn't politicians that create jobs, it's entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. We do, that's what we do. But all we want is the right environment. And I looked up and I saw people jumping out of a plane. It was, is it Sky Dubai?
Dubai.
Yeah, exactly. And a month before, I hadn't even been able to walk out my front door in my house. I was so panicked by panic. It wasn't real. Mm. And I said to my husband, shall we come here and live just for 6 months, just to see what the opportunity is? I mean, maybe just switching it up. And he said, I'd love to. I mean, he's like a Boy Scout. He loves adventure. He goes, yeah, I'd love to. And so I said, tomorrow we're going to jump from that plane and seal the deal. And we did. And
that's incredible.
From going from severe anxiety
Wow.
to sitting with my legs dangling out of a plane, attached to Tariq, the Egyptian rugby player, nothing was going to happen on his shift. And I went, oh, I've changed my mind, Tariq. Tariq is the dog. I went, too late, honey, push me. And off we went. We free fall for 8,000 feet. And then he pulled the parachute, and I promise you, I have never felt anxiety. That was 4 years ago, in the same way, ever again. Whatever happened, I left in that plane. Wow. And as I landed, I knew that I had to grab this opportunity. And living here in Dubai, it is a banquet of opportunity. And don't wait to be invited to sit at the table. Just pull up a chair and sit and be part of something that is growing, that is changing the world. So, and so I'm on my mission to find the other four senses.
I'm blown away by that skydive story, I really am.
Have you ever done it?
Never.
Too anxious. Too anxious to do it.
I just do it once in your life. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But it just, you confront something in you. And actually, we don't all have to jump out of a plane. But sometimes pushing yourself into the thing that you fear the most, and often it can be failure. That's what we fear the most, isn't it? You push yourself in and you realise, actually, failure isn't the worst thing that could happen. Sitting and doing nothing is.
So true, so true. And sitting and doing nothing, you did not.
No.
You went on to create numerous more brands. Can you speak to us first on Joe Loves and how it reflects you as a person today?
So Joe Loves is just
for you. So can you speak on the details as to what was challenging in the early days of Joe Loves?
I was I've got to get there, I've got to do it, very impetuous. Got the distribution wrong, got the team wrong. I don't know, and I spent about a year saying, I want to quit, and I'm not a quitter. I want to quit, I want to stop, let's close it down. I felt humiliated, that I'd humiliated myself. And he would say, one more day, one more day, one more month, one more year. And now I look at Joe Loves, and for my birthday, he gave me the keys to a shop. Do you know the significance of that? So it was where I had my first job in at 16. So I returned all the way back to where I started. I walked through the door and I thought, this is where I had my job at 16 years old. And it was an entrepreneurial delicatessen. And so I walked in and I felt this place go, you'll change the world again in this place. But it won't be easy. And from the minute we got 42 Elizabeth Street, I walked in and I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to build the world's first fragrance tapas bar. And he looked at me and he went, I think I might divorce you if you carry on like this. And we did build the world's first fragrance tapas bar, shot candles, so everything was twisted and differently. So it is a learning curve, but retail is a learning curve. And the minute you sit back on your haunches and you say to yourself, we've done it, that's dangerous. Every day we have to recreate ourselves and think, okay, we did it brilliantly today and yesterday, but tomorrow we have to make ourselves better and better and better, and you have to push yourself.
And tapping into that, what would you say are some of the hardest moments in your career, throughout your entire life?
My name definitely has been one of the hardest things. Not creating fragrance for 5 years. What were the other hard? I can't think of a lot of other hard things.
Did you turn any of those obstacles into stepping stones later on?
Sometimes you have to, as you're crossing a river, don't stand on one stone, stand on two. Straddle, balance, and bring balance into your business and your life. I think leadership for me has been quite lonely, so I like a very small team around me. And here in Dubai, there's just 3 of us. We have Joe Malone Creative Consultancy here in Dubai, and Katrina, myself and my husband are the 3. We're just about to have one more join us to help us. But the things we accomplish together, and we sit every day and it's like, okay, these are the things we need to do today. And we have this colour code system for projects. So green shoots is something that's tiny, but she's growing. Yellow is a light bulb, so it's an idea and crazy. Blue skies is taking something and dreaming, like Zara. I create fragrances for Zara. That is a blue sky, but she started as a little green shoots. And then red is imminent, where everything's together or about to go, and red dot, my little red dot, is launch is on the way. And when we came to Dubai, we had 13 live projects, 2 red dots, and lots of green and blue and yellow. Today, we have almost 12 red dots and red projects, which means they're live and they're moving through. So that's in 4 years with 3 people.
So we've only hit a tip of the iceberg, and the interview is drawing to a close.
Oh, thank you, though.
But I must ask. First of all, we sprayed the perfume at the very beginning, and our studio still smells amazing.
I know, I can still smell it now.
The fact that it's got longevity is amazing. And one thing that you said was you came to Dubai to find your other senses.
Yes.
Have you found them?
We just launched Joe Vodka, and she's only 16. So it's the world's first luxury infused vodka. Okay. So we have yuzu and rose petals, and each one is a side of my character. So, there's the girl that jumps out the plane, there's the girl that sits on the beach, the artist. So they're all stories of my life. And so I've yet to find sound. Well, actually, when we do speaking engagements, sight, that's on the table at the moment, and touch. And so, we're well on the way. I think give me another 18 months and we would have accomplished that. And then I need another mission.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Joe Malone, CBE, thank you so much for your time, for such an inspiring and open interview. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Farah.
Thank you. And
that is the end of the Lovin Dubai show. We're back with you every single weekday morning, same time, same place. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Bye.